Your parents were pretty on board with you. Were you
Yeah.
always kind of the quirky kid?
Well, obviously in my memories, I'm like deeply normal. And then my cousins are always like, oh, you were so funny and weird. And I'm like, okay, well, how funny?
This episode of IMO is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Well, everybody, welcome to IMO in New York. It's a special episode because I'm by myself. My big brother, Craig.
Yeah, I was wondering where Craig
here.
was, I guess.
You know, traveling, everything. It's not...
He's a busy guy.
He's a busy guy, busy guy. But I'm here and we're in New York because I just saw an amazing production of Proof on Broadway. And we're going to talk about that here today with the couple of special people here who are the reasons why this play is so amazing, Don and Io. It's good to have you here.
Glad to be here.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know Higher Ground, Barack and I, we were also co-producing this amazing production, and we are just thrilled to be a part of it because this version of the play is exactly the kind of stuff that Barack and I want to be involved with. Telling stories that are reimagined in ways that have an impact. So we are thrilled. But I have to formally introduce you all to the IMO audience. So I'm just going to read your quick bios just in case you don't know who you are.
Oh, appreciate it.
Okay. But we have Don Cheadle, the one and only, is one of Hollywood's most versatile and enduring talents.
I like that.
This is my friend, so I know you're a little embarrassed. Perhaps best known for his performances in the films Devil in a Blue Dress, which I just rewatched a couple of days ago.
Gosh, I also just rewatched it a couple of days ago.
It's a good movie, right?
It's
a
really
so good. And
Very
Miles,
good.
you just turned into another dude.
Yeah.
And that, I guess that's your job.
Yes, Mouse, he does his thing.
Yeah, Mouse. But also Boogie Nights, Traffic, and Hotel Rwanda. That earned you an Academy Award nomination. Don is an actor, producer, and activist whose work on and off screen reflects a deep commitment to storytelling that matters.
Oh, thank you.
And Io, my little friend here, is one of the most exciting young talents in Hollywood.
Let's go.
I know, whose groundbreaking role as Sydney in FX's acclaimed series The Bear earned her an Emmy, a Golden Globe, and virtually every other major television award in a single sweep. Damn, girl. She is an actress, writer, director, and comedian whose meteoric rise has made her one of the most sought-after voices of her generation.
How about that?
Yeah, what do we do with that? What do you do with that?
What do I do with that? I don't know. Just try to make it to what day of the week is it?
I don't know.
We don't know.
We already decided that we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
I've been calling it one day, but you guys didn't vibe that too much.
No,
we
it's
missed
just
it.
not
What do you
as
mean by that?
No, I get it. I'm not it's fine.
clear. But
It's
there's
okay.
something there. I think if it was written, it feels like a New Yorker
You have to see
comic
it.
joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It feels like that sort of vibe.
Because it would be a Monday, but then with
One
the
day.
M off and then one day.
Already visualizing it, I'm laughing.
Right.
There's a
Okay.
smile on my face.
You two
I'm feeling
are
lighter.
clearly connected already. What did you know each other before Proof? Because you act
No.
like you really have known each other forever,
No.
which works really well for this play.
No, we did not. I mean, we'd met, but we hadn't spent any real time with each other. And for me, because it predates me, you were talking about this play with Tommy and with Mike, before I was on board.
Tommy Kail,
Tommy
the
Kail,
director,
director,
Yes.
Mike Bosner.
and Mike Bosner,
Producer.
lead producer.
Yeah. And by the time I came into it and knew Io was going to be playing Catherine, I was so excited about it. And when we first met, not to be trite, but it just felt like what you're saying. It did feel like we'd known each other a long time. And I felt instantly paternal.
Yeah.
I felt, my daughter's
Io
very
does that
close to
too.
her age. And I just, yeah. So it's just right off the bat. And then once we started working and realized that we worked in a similar way and that we had similar ideas about the approach to the material, and it just all kicked off and kept going.
Did you have someone in mind? Were you thinking of Don as you were thinking about this reimagined version of the play?
I think, well, Don's name, I'm not, okay, I mean, I think it was the first one that we came up with. I think also sometimes, I don't know, maybe this is just me, but I always do sort of like exercises of like, oh, who could be my parent? You know, who'd be like the dream person? And I think a part of it is, you know, obviously vibe and all those things, but just people who you really admire and whose work you really love. And yeah, Dawn's sort of like always been on my eternal list. And it was like the first name that both Tommy and I had said. We were like, okay, let's go away and come up with names. And then it was like, well, I mean, but I wasn't sure, as I think I do often with people that I revere. I was like, I don't even know if he'd be interested in this, if he knows who either of us is. Like, I don't know. And the fact that he said yes was just a dream. But then again, you know, meeting, I think sometimes it can be really hard to meet your heroes. And, you know, I think we've all had experiences where you walk away and you're like, okay, well,
that happened.
That's information that I have now. And I mean, you know, I'm your friend, but like, there was just such a graciousness, but also, and I'm really averting eye contact.
I get it.
Look at him in the eye.
When, for me, it's always really heartening. I love my job. I would like to do it for as long as possible. And when I meet people who I really admire and revere, and I see that to them, they are still on the first day, like they are still so in communication with their inner child and with their curiosity and with their drive. Are you calling
Don a big baby?
Huge.
Wow. Nice extraction. You got there very deftly.
Just really childish and sort of unable to grow and learn. No, but childish. Just, you know, like there's still a curiosity and a hunger and like, I don't know. There's no, not that there, it's like, not a dissatisfaction, but you know what I mean? It's like
there is a dissatisfaction.
You're just not content. Yeah. He's never content.
Yeah.
Always questioning.
Always searching.
Exactly.
And that's a very similar journey that I think we're both on.
Well, let's give our listeners, our audience, a sense of what Proof is about, because it's a revival. It opened in 2000.
Yes.
Playwright is David Alburn. Yes. Tony winner, Pulitzer Prize winning play, and not everybody is familiar with Proof. Can you guys talk about the premise and why this reimagined version is so powerful?
Well, the play, according to David, or like to quote David, when he describes it, because often people ask, you know, what is it about? And he says, at its core, it's a family drama. And at the center of it is Catherine, who I play, who is 25. And maybe I'll try to do a spoiler-free version, but it explores the relationships between herself and her father, who was a genius but troubled mathematician and professor. Her sister, who they all live in Chicago, who now lives in New York, and comes back home. And one of her father's proteges, a student named Hal. And it goes through time. It goes through their relationships. And one of the questions at the center of it is, I don't know, there's a lot of different questions, but legacy and truth.
Yeah, those are big themes in it.
I don't know.
Madness, genius, you know, where is the line? How do we straddle it?
How does it look like?
What does it look like? What does success look like? What does
sisterhood
look like?
In a huge way.
Trust.
Responsibility, trust.
It's a big play. It's a big play. And the original play was, it was written for a white cast, a white family. And Tommy Kail and Mike decided, and was it intentional to revive it with a Black family? Did you all have those discussions?
I think Tommy, you know, wanted to, I think Tommy and David had entered a conversation and with Mike at some point, and they decided that they wanted Catherine to be Io. So once they decided that,
Yeah,
it sort of
right.
dictated who the family would be in some ways.
Both Kara and Jin, Kara Young and Jin Ha, who are also in the play with us.
Kara plays your
Kara plays
sister.
Claire, my sister.
Claire.
Love Kara. For those of you who love Broadway, she was in Purpose, amazing in that.
Yes, she is a living
Yeah, she's a
legend.
legend
It is
out here.
really cool to be, I don't know, to work with her and know her and love her and just be like, I'm watching like I know what I'm watching. It's very cool.
Yeah. And then Jin Ha plays Hal.
Plays Hal, who's amazing actor as well. But I call them our Broadway doulas because they're a little bit more versed than us. And both of them were like, it feels almost like working on a new play.
Yeah.
The way that we have been rehearsing and workshopping with each other, which is really exciting. It's a bit different from film and TV because with theater, it's all about the process.
Yeah.
That's kind of all you have. You have all this rehearsal time. You're so funny. I was looking at it.
Did you see? You too. Well, let's talk more about the process. It's like, Dad, don't do that. Ew.
When you want me to drink a bug,
What
I
are you
had to get
doing?
it.
Did you see it though?
He's got
From the
bug
side.
in your
That was
water.
amazing.
I mean,
Thank
that's
you.
a specialty of IMO. We
Yeah.
try to
You were trying to give me my
try to
protein.
get right.
this morning.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
I'm sure another one will get in there somehow.
But let's talk a bit about the fact that for both of you, this is your
God, you drink
your
it.
broad.
I'm not scared of a bug.
Do you want new water?
No, I'm cool.
You know,
Do you know how
John's
many
like
bugs-
that.
Do you know how many
Io.
bugs we eat a
He's
year?
one with the earth.
That's right.
He
know
I
me.
don't know
understands
actually how
that.
many bugs we eat a year, and I have no interest
You guys can
in
look it
knowing.
up. You're
You
on
know,
computers
I'm
and you
sure,
can fly
know,
in
when
while
it's
we're
probably-
going.
It's just no
Well,
telling.
it's the average of
you know?
people like Don who are eating probably 1,000 bugs
Probably
a
eating
year.
more bugs than
and me
most.
who's eating none.
Yeah.
Who's taking the bug out of their water?
That's right.
But we
IMO.
digress.
Saturated
digress, we
bug
digress.
is better
We
than a dry
digress.
bug.
Let's-
That's
we're-
right.
we're back.
Right. But we don't know because Io and I, we do not try bugs.
No,
No.
we don't.
Yeah.
We'll
Anyway.
get that info flying in anyway.
That's good. That's good. But anyway, this is both of your debut on Broadway.
Yeah.
So why now? Especially Don, for you, old man.
Cool. I'll take that.
Yeah, that one was for you, the old man.
Yeah, I figured that out.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. This is the love I get from the Obamas on the regular. This is
You
kind of
should
how
be so lucky.
yeah, I feel very blessed. For me, it was again timing.
Mm-hmm.
It was the right auspices. It
Yeah.
was getting to work with Io, having the opportunity to work with Tommy. Obviously, very experienced and really good director. And it's just somehow worked out. I'd been playing around with the idea for a couple years
Mm-hmm.
and trying to work on a couple different things and developing things. And just the time never really presented itself to have that much unencumbered time
Mm-hmm.
to carve out to do
Yeah.
it. But this had all the reasons to say yes
Mm-hmm.
for me.
And you guys are both theater nerds,
Yeah.
deep down. You in particular, Don, you came out of theater. That was like your
100%.
first
Yeah.
love. Can you talk a bit about that journey?
I mean, I was doing plays in Iowa too, in elementary school, and all throughout high school. And then I graduated and went to California Institute of the Arts and
Mm-hmm.
studied theater there, and did that for 4 years and did a zillion plays there. And then when I graduated, I did regional theater at the Guthrie and at the Goodman, at the Public, and Mixed Blood in the Twin Cities, and I've just was something I always kept
Mm-hmm.
up. And yeah, and 25 years ago, as you mentioned, I did Top Dog, Underdog. When this
Yep.
play opened, Proof actually opened on Broadway, and Bridget, my wife,
Mm-hmm.
was telling me about it. So it's been something that was the last time I've been on stage. But I always knew it was
It was
in the
coming.
offing somewhere, and just everything had to come together, and it kind of did. I mean, it's funny because I met Kara on the set of I Love Boosters,
Mm-hmm.
which comes out next month. And she didn't know who she was talking to because I have all these prosthetics on for this thing. And I said, "Oh, I'm Don Cheadle." She's like, "What? You're
What?
who?"
Excuse
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But I was talking about, I've got this play reading coming up. I've got this reading offer to do Proof, and Ayo Edebiri is going to be doing it. I'm really excited about it, and it's weird how things come together. And I don't know if I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do the reading and the timing. And we're just talking about all this kismet stuff. And her phone dings, and she looks at it,
Really?
and she looks at me and turns the phone to me, and it said, "You have offer to
Oh my God.
read proof.
Oh
We were
my
like,
God.
oh, well, I guess
This is
we're
meant
supposed to
be.
do this. Yeah.
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 Steven Spielberg told me that who gets cast is who's supposed to be cast, which is why he never worries about whether somebody can do it or not. Because it's like, it happens when it happens. The right person does it at the right time. Because scheduling and getting this stuff right is a big part of who does what when in this business.
100%.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance, a company committed to helping people move forward and live fully. When I bought my first home, I played it very safe. On paper, it made sense. Mish, what is something you wish you knew when you were buying your first home?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be repetitive, but hearing you talk, it's the same thing. I mean, I think over the course of our lives before going into the White House, we bought our first condominium and played it conservative, and we bought our first home. Now, my husband wouldn't say that we were being conservative, but it is true that there's, I think there's a benefit to being somewhat conservative because you don't want to grow up, as our dad said, house poor.
Right.
And I think we worry a lot about that because that was sort of the theory of working class folks. But the truth is that you want to get I wish I had known that getting the most for your dollar was actually the better strategy.
Yeah. So what advice would you give young people today as they approach bigger and bigger life choices, like purchasing their first home?
Well, I would say talk to people who've been in your shoes. I think our parents were never homeowners, right? So we didn't really have them as a guide. So I would say to young people, if you don't come from a home owning background, ask questions. If you're buying a home, you're going to need a bank. You should sit down with someone who has an expertise to help walk you through the process and help you think about how much you should be investing, how much you should be saving so that you're not going in blind.
Yeah. I'd say while it feels stressful, you'll be very happy with the result. How do you think our childhood prepared us for making such big decisions, such as home ownership?
I think with kids, you let them start practicing with the small decisions, right? You can't raise kids to not ever make decisions and think they'll be ready for the big decisions. So what our mom and dad, I think, did a good job with is that they gave us responsibility early on and let us choose, setting your own alarm clock and getting yourself up, making the decision about what you were going to wear every day, deciding how you were going to pace, how to do your homework and, what you valued. I think our parents forced us to make small decisions first so that we grew into the bigger decisions.
No, exactly. Fortunately, there are resources available for all those first-time homebuyers out there right now. Progressive is offering real support as a first-time homebuyer navigates what can feel like a pretty formidable process. For example, Progressive's Up Payment program is part of their Open the House initiative, a multi-year commitment to making homeownership a reality for more people. That's because Progressive believes that strengthening communities starts with opening doors and helping more people feel prepared to take that step. As part of that effort, Progressive is expanding their Up Payment program in 2026, offering down payment assistance of up to $13,500 each to at least 200 eligible first-time homebuyers. And since 2024, Progressive has committed more than $16 million toward making homeownership feel more achievable. Learn more about the Up Payment program and Progressive's commitment to first-time homebuyers at progressive.com/openthehouse, where homebuyers can discover more about housing challenges and access resources and support to empower them in their housing journey.
I mean, we almost didn't know if you were working up to what, 2 days before you came to rehearsal?
Yeah.
What were you
I
working
was
on?
finishing the last season of Bear.
Okay, yeah.
And both Eben and I previously had been cleared to do the shows. That Eben's now on Dog Day. And I got cleared to do this. And then again, schedules and a lot of math. That's like a pretty big cast. So it ended up pushing our filming. And yeah, I filmed like up till 2 days before. And I got to wrap. And then I had to wait till the end of that day. So I got 1 day to pack and go back home and dump all my stuff and then get all my winter things. And then I came out here and then I showed up to rehearse and I was like, hello.
Yeah.
And theater, look, I love theater.
Yeah.
I love all stage plays, musicals, you name it. There's just something about being in community with people and
It's
watching
powerful. It's deeply, deeply powerful.
people right there doing their thing. And I'm kind of biased. I do think that actors who have had theater experience, and it seems like the lines are a lot less blurred now. I mean,
Absolutely.
before it's like if you did TV and film, that's what you did. Theater people did theater people.
Yeah.
They did the theater stuff. And now, I don't know if it's me, but it just feels like everybody's doing a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
George Clooney just did Broadway. Taraji's up there now. I mean, we could go on and on. Can you guys talk about that trend? How does that feel for you guys in
I'm more
the
curious
business?
from your end because I feel
you're
like
old. You've been
Here we go.
around.
Yeah.
you're so old. You've basically been acting since the dawn of time.
Dawn of time.
Yeah, and so I guess for you,
When
no, but
Jesus wore sandals.
Yeah.
I feel like my
Don
career
was on
has come into fruition. Your first role, obviously. Sort of. You were the original Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat. Yeah.
The original Joseph.
Yeah. But like, I think because my career has kind of been sort of blown up in this way after COVID, I think also that is a huge part of it, where I'm like, well, everything is soup. Like everything has sort of been a bit strange, and we're like kind of figuring our way back.
So you
normal,
built
what is
your
normal?
career in strange.
Yeah, exactly.
In many ways. In so many ways. I have come out of the strange. Yeah. So
But I've always been an early adopter in about whatever, and I was doing a show on Showtime very early.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I was like, what's the streaming thing about? Let's try that. And I've just always been, I go where the material is.
Yep.
And, so many writers flocked to TV because they were unable to do what they wanted to do in film, because films started becoming just about tentpole stuff, and I've been in a bunch of them. And, those
I
kinds
didn't
of...
even mention your Marvel Oceans,
It's
all
all good.
the...
It's fine.
It's
But-
like,
it doesn't
you
seem
did
fine.
that
You can
too.
do it
Actually,
now.
they had that in the intro, and I was like, can you take that out?
You took it out.
Yeah,
okay.
take
So
that out.
why was like, why didn't we talk about any of that?
Because all of her stuff was so heady and lofty and incredible. And I was like, you're going to talk about me in a suit? But
I can't.
No, right. That's
I cannot
really,
with that.
But no hate on the Marvel stuff. Thank you.
Pays the bill, allows you
Yo.
to do the theater stuff.
I mean,
know.
yeah.
Pays for the barn.
That's like my dad's like big. Not disappointment.
I wish you didn't know so much about me, Michelle.
It's your fault. You're fine.
Moving on.
Right.
To quote Methuselah.
Right.
No, look, I think that theater has never left my blood. It's never not been something I've wanted to get back to at some time in some way. And I think, another thing that's playing on this is, unfortunately, the economics, of what it takes to mount a production.
Yeah.
And I feel, kind of conflicted sometimes about the people that we need to put in these plays to actually get the budgets for the plays.
Yeah.
And that
And to recoup and
all of that.
Yeah.
And there's jobbing actors that have been out here, doing it for a long time, that are like kind of getting squeezed out often when these kinds of casting opportunities happen. So it cuts both ways for me a little bit. Because I love the opportunity and want to come here and do it. And a big part of also wanting to do this play was really to, it's Catherine's play. It's Ayo's play. And I wanted to support her and support that journey. And, I'm the smallest part in it. But I really wanted to come and
Well, don't tell people that.
pop the kids up.
He's in it a lot, y'all.
I'm in it a
No,
lot. They're just in it a lot more. But
I do think that, I understand that rub, but I think that the way audiences think, I mean, we're trying to get people off their phones and into the
Absolutely.
theater.
And I feel
think,
like every time it happens also, I don't know, maybe that's my own sort of naivete or whatever, but like when it happens, when you experience it, everybody's like so grateful for it.
absolutely,
It's like,
absolutely.
wow. And even to the effect of like the type of work that's made, I feel like often the things that come out of or pierce through cultural conversation are often so strange, or feature a cast where you don't really know that many people. Maybe you saw one person whose name you knew, but everybody else you don't know. You know, there's the weird things, there's the strange things, but then that doesn't end up being the takeaway from like a structural industry standpoint. Like the takeaway isn't like, oh, let's do more shows with unknown casts. It's like we really like cooking stuff in Chicago. So not everything, you know.
Well, it's
like,
all in the rearview mirror, right?
Yeah. And so I don't know.
But I
always
think
find
you
that
guys
fascinating.
lending your talents to theater is helping, because it's going to put people in seats. It's going to, reinvigorate things.
Hopefully.
I hope so.
At this point, I don't care why people come to the theater. I just want them to come. And if they come because it's like, oh, I know Don and Io, I get to see them up close. You guys don't have the schedules and the time to do theater always. So if you can get somebody hooked, then you guys go off. I mean, I like the way some productions are doing it. A production gets established with a star, and then
you move other people in it.
with somebody else in it. And then people now know that this play on its own, without the star power, is something that we want to see. We want our kids to be in those seats. We want, our communities to be back to that live kind of. So
that's true.
Absolutely. I think it's a hook. It's an important hook. I don't think this is a forever hook. I think that the talent on Broadway is unbelievable. Some of the best talent in the business is right here in the city on these streets. I mean, what it takes to show up every day. And I want to talk
physically,
talk about that for a bit. Like I want our audience to understand, what does it take to prepare? I mean, how did you guys approach this play, your roles? I'm going to tease Don again. I mean, when I saw you, Barack, I went with Barack. Barack and I had a date night proof. And we were like, heck, Don got a dad bod? It's like, it's like the last time I saw you, you were cut up. I thought.
I am. What are you talking
are,
about?
and I know.
That's
you
the power
are.
of
That's
acting.
the thing.
That's the power of your
because I
acting, that you
swear
look
to
like you have
God,
a dad bod.
I was like,
No,
I expected when I saw you backstage.
For camera?
No, you didn't. My point was, when I saw you backstage, I was almost like, oh, great, okay, it's still in there. I was sitting there thinking,
taking so many
when
shots.
did he gain all that weight?
Acting.
So you weren't wearing anything? You just turned into a dad bod?
Yeah,
like
just
that. I mean,
pushed my
that's
stomach out and
got
got bow-legged.
you have a dad? Was it the costume?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
But anyway, we digress.
I don't think this is a digression. I think we've now leaned into the theme of this podcast.
Which
This is really what it's about.
With Don. That's why we have you in the center.
Yeah, you're in the hot seat.
You're in the hot seat.
No doubt.
But talk about your preparation.
I mean, physically, I had started doing vocal training for the year before, because also I found myself losing my voice during award season. It's just so
because you were accepting so many speeches.
Just because I don't know how to stop talking to people. And I was like, I know that I want to do a play. I knew that it was going to be this play, and so I really wanted to get ready, and that required just a lot of learning about my instrument, things that also I think I was in practice with, but not consciously when I was doing stand-up on the regular. And then since doing a lot more TV and film, it's just a muscle you don't have to use. I don't have to reach the back of the room when I'm mic'd, so that was definitely a part of it. And I think when we knew that it was going to happen, we would talk about the script and sort of read it. I don't know when you had started actively memorizing, but
Pretty early.
had tried to get it into my bones as much as possible. And then when I wanted to start earlier, and then Bear ended up
Then you had to
happening.
do it
So
something else,
I would just read it on set if I didn't have like a crazy amount of lines. And I remember Lionel and Will Poulter, I would like pull them a lot because Evan also was working on his own stuff for Dog Day. So we would kind of be in little corners just like reading and then picking up our sides and being like, do we know our actual job for today?
Right. I'm doing right now, yeah.
And there's things where it's like Catherine has these long passages of things where that is like memorized or things that are, so that was the first stuff that I tried to tackle. The stuff where I'm like, well, this is language that's like in her bones, so it should be the first stuff that's in mine. And then
when you say it was memorized, are there parts of the play that are more improvised?
Like when she recites
when I
something
like recite something from memory, but like I'm Catherine.
Yes,
acting
that's
is
right.
so weird.
It's
Right.
a trip. Yeah, it's like, what do you mean from memory? But it's her memory and
it's
her
her
character.
It's her
Yeah,
memory.
yeah.
So I was like, well, that has to be something that's
right.
And then that made
You
me
can't
think,
change
like,
that every.
what are things that I know?
No.
Yeah.
Sorry, my long-winded answer.
No. I mean, it's powerful, and because I'm thinking about these conversations with young people listening and young people that are interested in this kind of stuff, because you guys all talked about. We all have our theater experience when we were young. I mean, I was in the operetta workshop. I mean, there's always, I had an aunt that ran the community theater. I mean, we all have that piece of, I used to like improv when I was a little kid.
What?
Yeah, I did. And, it's like theater training prepares you for a lot more than acting.
1,000%.
I mean, I think it plays a role in my comfort level.
Public speaking.
In public speaking, in the way I interact with people.
To just adapt
It's
to
storytelling. I mean,
situations.
really what you get adept at, or what you hopefully, one of the biggest muscles you're flexing is just being a storyteller. And there's not any business that you can even name that doesn't have as one of its components, what's the story that I'm telling about this job? What's the story that I'm telling about this business? What's the story that this industry has? So it is applicable to so many different things, and it teaches you how to play well with others, and it teaches you, that you're not the center of the universe, and you need to be, malleable, and there's give and take, and the strongest thing that you can be, I think, as a performer is a listener, and be able to reflect back what you hear and be in conversation. And I think that's all of those skills are very important to just manage life.
Yeah.
I think also when I first realized that maybe this is something that I wanted to do, a big fear that I had, because both of my parents are not in the industry.
Yeah.
And similarly, it's like I have a godmom who went to the first Black AME church and would do a Christmas program, and she was in
church
an
basement.
opera singer, very was writing church plays, that sort of thing. But that was pretty much our purview of the whole thing. It didn't go much further than that. I didn't even think I realized writing was a job you could have. I thought that there were actors and directors. I didn't realize that people wrote the scripts that were different from the people who said them and the guy, and like Spike Lee. I didn't really know that. And I think I sometimes can forget, because I get sick of the sound of my own voice, that it can be helpful to hear those more granular parts of things, and the more practical, tactical parts of things. And that is what I think I was able to latch on to when I was also convincing my parents that I would be okay and that I could survive, and that actually there's unions and the unions have health insurance.
Because that's what parents would. How you gonna get health insurance?
Yeah.
I don't think you're coming back here. I ain't paying for it. You better figure it out.
They would not, and they did not.
You're
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance, a company committed to helping people move forward and live fully. The older we get, the more we know ourselves, right? The easier it is to make big decisions and all of that. It's always been interesting to me that life requires us to make huge, impactful choices at a very young age. Where to live, what to study, and of course, how or even whether to buy a home. Progressive is a company founded on the belief that insurance should do more, and they understand there are many hurdles first-time homebuyers are facing these days. That's why I appreciate what Progressive is doing through their Open the House initiative. It's all about helping more people take that first step toward home ownership by giving them the knowledge, tools, and financial support to make it feel more possible. Since 2024, Progressive has committed more than $16 million toward making the dream of home ownership a reality. This includes a $3.5 million investment this year towards the Up Payment Program, Progressive's down payment assistance program aimed at first-time homebuyers. Want to learn more about the Up Payment Program and Progressive's commitment to first-time homebuyers? Visit progressive.com/openthehouse to find out more about housing challenges and access resources and support to empower them in their housing journey. When was the last time your shopping delivery service really delivered? I've had days when I'm bouncing between meetings, studio time, trying to get home before friends come over, and then I realize my grocery delivery guy made some creative choices. Like the time I asked for marinara sauce and they brought me salsa. Well, Shipt is different. I found that shoppers with Shipt are no ordinary shoppers because they know that no order is ordinary. They put extraordinary care into what they do. Shoppers with Shipt really understand me and my shopping needs. For example, my desire for extremely thinly sliced cheese. I love it when they text me to make sure they've got the order correct or to find a good substitution, or like how they always double check expiration dates on the milk I've ordered so that I'm getting the freshest option. It's the little things. Shoppers with Shipt shop your favorite stores same day from places like Lowe's, PetSmart, Michael's, and more. Use code podcast to get a year of Shipt for only $49, half off the regular $99 price at shipt.com/offer. That's SHIPT.com/offer. Terms apply. You know, something I love about this show is getting to hear so many different people's stories. It's so inspiring to research each guest and discover their backstory. All the hard work and big swings that went into their success. Because, and I know this has been true for me, you need to take some big swings if you're going to build something yourself. Fortunately, there's tools out there like Shopify, a platform designed to make running your business 1 million times easier. Whether you're just getting started with a side hustle or growing something bigger, Shopify gives you the tools to actually build your business the right way. Even better, Shopify is how your stuff gets discovered everywhere, from Google to YouTube to the Shop app. I'll just say that purple Shop Pay button is another game changer for so many brands. The one-click experience means fewer abandoned carts, more completed purchases, and less stress. I'm always a little too relieved that I don't have to dig for my wallet. Want to build something that's truly yours? Start your free trial at shopify.com/IMO.
Your parents were pretty on board with you. Were you
Yeah.
always kind of the quirky kid?
Well,
that,
obviously in my memories, I'm like deeply normal. And then my cousins are always like, "Oh, you were so funny and weird," and I'm like, "Okay, well, how funny? Why so?
What, am I a joke to you?
Oh yeah. Also, when I went back to my high school, did I tell you this?
No.
I went back and a bunch of my teachers came and said hey, and everybody was acting so weird. But they were all like, "This is crazy, huh? Like this is really weird." And
Like,
I'm
we
"But
never
guys,
saw this for
again,
you."
like, not really.
We thought you were going to live in the alley.
Well, but yeah, I was a freak, and I guess I was surrounded by other like all my friends. We were just all weirdos. Like, and my friend Shlee came actually, and we just were remembering all these like insane things. But we were supporting each other in that. And I felt like our parents were really supportive of that. Because, we were well-behaved and we made sure the grades were right. And
That's
so
right.
then, if you want to like learn how to play oboe or do improv or Shlee is really obsessed with Michael Jackson at the time. And so it was like, okay, if you want to make videos where she's Michael Jackson using like your dad's camcorder and you're figuring out how to edit or whatever, like fine. And so, when I told my parents that I didn't want to study education anymore and that I wanted to pursue this, I remember I took them to an IHOP and I was like, this is going to be the worst moment of my life.
Have some more
like short
syrup,
stack
Dad.
on me, And my dad looked
2
at
more
me.
sausages, please.
Please, keep them
Keep the
coming.
sausages
Keep them
coming.
coming. And my dad looked at me and he said, honey, you know we were there when we raised you, right?
We-
We
Hit
saw
me like
this.
a
We've
ton of
seen you.
bricks. And I
Yeah.
was like, right, like those were the people.
Yeah.
Who was I? I wasn't taking the Feng Hua bus unsupervised at 10. It's my
Yeah.
mom was taking me because
Yeah.
she knew I had this passion. And they were taking me to see the Urban Nutcracker and to see Wicked when it came to Boston on tour.
Yeah.
And, my dad was always showing me amazing movies. And I found out actually when I graduated, which is like funny thinking about the show and the legacies that we know and we don't know. My dad wanted to study film. He went to Emerson, and then his dad found out because this was like analog days. And so, he basically was like, yeah, everything's fine in America. And then a cousin called my grandfather and was like, he's not studying to be a lawyer. He's going to film school. And my grandfather
on
came
you.
down and was like, cool, you can graduate.
Yeah.
And then you have to like apply to law school after.
Because your parents are immigrants,
Yes.
both of them?
Yes, both of them. My mom's from Barbados and my dad is from Nigeria. Yeah.
So
And
they were definitely don't play.
No,
We
and they
sent you
had
here to be a doctor
responsibilities
or a lawyer.
also.
Yeah.
They
Get
had siblings and they had things to do and people to help and secure things for. And I think, it was a cool thing though where I was like, oh, my dad isn't continuing that cycle. And he wants me to do well and, make sure that everything is okay. But he also knows that like there's no point in, I don't know, this life
if you don't follow your passions.
Yeah. And
My
it's-
father actually, I've said this before, my dad worked as a stationary fireman, blue collar worker. But my dad was a really gifted artist. I mean, he sculpted, painted, got a scholarship to the Art Institute. We grew up in Chicago, but he didn't pursue those dreams because,
what are you gonna?
he had to raise a family. He had to, so it's to understand that there was a generation of parents and grandparents who couldn't do this.
No.
It wasn't even, it was there in their bones.
Yeah.
But then
That reminds me, I was going to say, my mom was also a frustrated artist, I think, and it was, I had luckily a very similar, sort of perspective from my parents who, my parents drove me to Cal Arts and drove me home. And there was never any question about what I wanted to do. They were like, oh, are you going to pursue music or are you going to pursue acting? Because those are the two things that you've been passionate about and really want to do. And similarly, you got to do your schoolwork and get your grades and do all that stuff. But they were like, there was no question I was going to college. That wasn't, but they were just like, you can pursue anything you want in college. You're going to college.
Yeah.
But whatever you study, just really study it and be serious about it. And I can remember, when I first started and it was hard and struggling and would be between jobs and calling my mom and saying, I don't know if I made the right choice. And she said, you've been talking about doing this since you were 10 years old. Don't stop now.
See,
just
that's just
double down.
a beautiful thing, to have parents who are rooting you on when it's times are tough. We have kids that are going to do non-traditional things.
Yes.
Have a kid that's interested in the business, and
She's a good writer too.
there's many a call where, because the business is crazy.
Yes.
And the thing and there are times when she wonders whether in these times when there's so much going on, should she be writing,
that, yeah.
And the thing I tell her is like, there are going to be a lot of people who don't make it through these tough periods. They're just not situated. And especially when it comes to Black voices,
Of course.
Black writers,
Yeah.
Black directors.
Yeah.
Those of you who can stick in there and be there, we need them. We need you. We're going to need storytellers and people with different perspectives, So I mean, probably your parents were ahead of the curve, both of you guys, in thinking that through and understanding the power of having real, clear, decent people with good minds of color in this business. And thank God they did.
Yeah.
I think that's also why it's important that the proof has been reimagined for a Black family.
Yeah.
First of all, so many of us are in, there's some people out there who don't want to believe that there are Black families that are professors and clinical psychiatrists and who are artists and, who are geniuses.
Yeah.
And I think it's powerful to have this family not talk about the truth of their reality, but just living in it. It's like we exist in so many different forms with so many different other challenges other than poverty or crime or whatever.
Exactly.
Can you guys talk a bit about that?
Going back to the David Auburn of it all, and the early conversations that you had with Tommy about it, there's a clear understanding that these themes, a lot of these themes are universal, but they do look different for different people.
Absolutely.
And what does legacy mean, and what we get to leave behind, and often it is about something financial. And in this play, it does center around the house. And, who has ownership of that?
Yep.
Who has ownership of dad's work? What do we do with dad's work? What does it mean, to honor that or to exploit it? Or, so I think that a lot of these themes work. But when we are talking about things like mental health, something that has traditionally not so much anymore, but I think, has for a long time been like, we just don't talk about that, That's just Uncle Ben.
Especially in the
Uncle
Black
Ben
community.
just stays over there. He just has
Ain't
that.
nothing wrong with you, boy.
Yeah, you're fine.
I know he's in the basement.
Yeah, that's fine.
But,
Don't be there
It's
at
just a
4
little
o'clock.
funny. It's
just
fine.
special.
It's a little funny.
He does something weird at 4 o'clock. Just put the TV tray and shut the door, and he's fine.
And don't look him in the eye.
Don't look Uncle Ben in the eye. I don't have an Uncle Ben, just for the record.
I
But
do.
the Uncle Ben I'm imagining
so-
is bananas. But yeah, so I think that for a Black family, like I said, the things that we brought up to David, as far as we have to figure out the word that we're using when the police come, because this Catherine may not get to be abusive to the police,
So maybe-
and us have another scene in the play.
So it's like, what are the word
What are
choices?
the word choices?
What happened?
Yeah, what did she
what
actually do?
happened?
Yeah.
And what's also happening underneath it?
Right.
What's happening is these two sisters are missing each other. So how do we maintain that while also still allowing the play to be what it is?
And we're not detouring off into a play about that.
That's
yes.
right.
But
That's
we
right.
also can't act like that's not something.
That also
that's
means
real.
something,
That means something.
in Chicago
That's
in
right.
the 90s.
In the 90s, absolutely.
That's been cool. I think to what you were saying also about this story and the now, it's so funny. It's like I didn't really consciously think about it until we started doing press. And I was thinking about that and I'm like, what is that?
That being the race aspect, are you saying?
I guess.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, it's because I'm a Black woman all the time. I'm not thinking about why this is timely. I'm timely. I'm timeless. We are timeless. We exist. We've always existed. We will continue to exist and persist. And so it's like, I don't know. I'm thinking about it always in everything I do. And also at the same time, I'm not
thinking about it. You're just living.
Because I have to live my life. Because it's like, we are absolutely all political bodies. Like, right, sure. At the same time, I'm still, I'm a human being. And and David, in his writing of this, I mean, it's like one of my favorite things. And I think it's really hard to do as a writer. And he does so brilliantly. Every character is right. And every character is wrong in the same scene.
Yeah, what was she trying to get?
This is the beauty of theater. I mean, you can do this in a movie, but there is just something different about real people on stage in the audience, which is
Can you talk about that? Because that's one thing we've never had.
Yes.
We've never experienced. Is like, what's it like sitting there? Because sometimes it's very noisy. In a good way, because people are like murmuring. Ooh,
but that is exactly what was going on, and what I found. I think I was saying this to you guys, is that there was just a lot of guttural. I mean, people were feeling it because I think there's so many themes and so many people who were seeing themselves or somebody they knew at some level, that it felt like it was unexpected to the audience to
I've
get
had
hit
friends
with
who
some of this stuff.
come in, and I'm sure you as well. Not funny, haha, but like they'll be like, "Hey, why didn't you warn me about like X specific thing?"
Right.
Like, oh, like my bad. Or like, why didn't you tell me it was two sisters? And I'm like, my fault. Like, to that, like that micro or as macro as like you're saying, mental health or an ailing parent.
Yeah,
or,
a lot of that. A lot of that's come back. People going like, "Wow, I just went through this," or "I had to deal with this."
And if it had been an all-Black audience, they would have been talking to you
the
all.
whole
They'd be like, "Well, who do you think you are,
No,
girl?"
we've definitely had some of that. I think at one point, this one is making me laugh. There's a scene where I'm taking things out of a backpack. This woman I just heard. It's also like we have to. Sometimes moments will happen, and it's like I just find myself like looking, or I'm just like I just need eyes right now. I just need eyes to stay here, and then I can go back and great. And a woman I just heard go, orange. And me and Shin were just like, we're here. We're still in this moment. We're here.
You're Catherine. I'm Hal. You're Catherine.
You're Hal. I'm Catherine. You're Hal. I'm Catherine. I'm Catherine. You're Hal. We're here. Great. And I'm like, okay, what does this mean also for the rest of the show? This is quite early on that an orange appears.
Yeah.
And so we're like, what is this going to do? You just don't know.
Somebody told me that they were sitting in front of behind two Black women. And when Kara came on for her second scene, they were like, "Oh, here she go. Uh-oh. Here she goes."
That's why I love us.
Yes.
I love us. And the beauty of this reimagined revival is that it's going to bring in new audiences.
Yes.
And I think that, that brings life into it. It's a whole nother generation. It's a whole nother community of people who are going to be introduced to David Albarn and his writing and the complexities of a script and these sets of characters, and that's what you're feeling.
And we have a lot of programs that we're supporting, and fantastic that the play is supporting to do just that, to broaden access, to get students in at a price point that's not prohibitive, because so much of it is prohibitive when you talk about these plays. They're so out of reach for so many people.
Friends that I have, like that I met in college and were born and raised in New York and had never seen a Broadway show, because there just wasn't access. They can't afford it. Or they didn't go to the right school, be it public or private, that had a program that would take them for a day. It's like kind of mind-boggling. So we just both, I think, really had the intention, and we're matched in that with our producers into trying to make accessibility a real practical thing.
How do you guys specifically influence that decision?
Skin in the game. We're giving money back toward it so that we can support it, and having people match it, and going out and fundraising around it.
And I was like, in a way that I think was newer for me. Maybe you're a little more versed, but I was like, I'm thinking of the people I know who have money.
Exactly.
And I'm figuring out how to write an email or like do a call. And I think also just meeting with our sincerity, like that this is something that we really want, because I think we've both been beneficiaries of access.
Absolutely.
And so some of those programs look like buyout nights that are going to happen, reaching out to different like schools and nonprofits.
And the New York public school system is
we partnered with the Department of Education.
You hear that, y'all?
So,
Yeah.
we're trying.
And still pursuing some organizations for people who are, it's just a barrier, just the price point's a barrier, not just students, but just anyone who can get in there.
Anyone.
We are big dog lovers here at IMO. Everyone knows how important dogs are to myself and my sister's family. Pets just do so much for us. Companionship, emotional support, even getting us out of the house more. And when you really love your dog, you want to take the best possible care of them. That's something that Ollie really gets. They're all about that same level of care and attention. This isn't just dog food. It's fresh meals made with high-quality ingredients, developed by actual chefs and backed by vet nutritionists. From the moment you start your subscription, everything is tailored to your dog. Even better, through the Ollie app, you can actually check in on your dog's health with real vets. Just by uploading a picture, their team can check in on your dog's weight, digestion, teeth, and coat. As a pet owner, I can tell you how important it is to get those regular check-ins without having to go to the vet. The app makes my experience so much simpler. Get ready for both you and your pup to be obsessed. Head to ollie.com/IMO. Tell them all about your dog and use code IMO to get 70% off your welcome kit when you subscribe today. Plus, they offer an obsession guarantee. If you're not completely obsessed, you'll get your money back. That's ollie.com/IMO and enter code IMO to get 70% off your first box. Ollie, feed the obsession.
The community of actors that are supporting each other. I mean, one thing I love hearing from you and Bridget, Don, is in your early days, that community of young actors, many of whom are still your friends, who you all, some have made it, some haven't.
Yeah.
And what that meant to you and Io. I'm curious about whether that a similar community exists for you. You want to talk a little bit about that?
I think we were very lucky. Bridget and I bumped into each other a lot in the early days when we were all trying to get work in LA. And when I graduated from Cal Arts, I graduated with some guys who were my similar types. And we kind of all lived within a block or two of each other, all together, roommates, sometimes three at a place, two in a place, but we all kind of lived around each other. And when we would have auditions, everybody would go.
Yeah.
I'd be like, Bruce, I got an audition. Jeff, I got an audition. And we would bum rush the audition together. And I'd go in and then I'd be coming out and go, wait, can you see my friend? And they're like, what?
Wow.
He's that type. No, see him. And then he'd go in and he'd go, hey, one more of us. Can you see one more?
I'm obsessed with this.
And they would say to us, like, if he gets the job, you don't get the job. I was like, yeah, but we get the check.
Yeah, yes.
We're trying to keep this money in here. So if
That's amazing.
I got to borrow from him, he's got to borrow from me. We got to pull this bread. So one of us has to get it.
Yeah, right.
So we kind of had that mentality, and we were very fortunate to have that because it was not that way for most other people out there. It was dog eat dog. It was cutthroat. But something about having that kind of comfort also made it that when I think we walked in the room, we weren't like the sweaty, desperate, have to get this thing, which is so off-putting for a lot of, you can, that feels uncomfortable. You want to be around somebody that you're like, I want to be around this person.
Yeah.
So we were able to sort of, that community kind of help each other feel that. And then it just kind of spread. All of us were out there trying to do the same thing. And so many of us know each other and knew each other from that time. And, one of my closest friends from that time, his daughter's my goddaughter, and she lives with my kids. They all live together still, in their 30s. And so it was just something that's amazing. I'm still very close with those guys. Yeah. And I do think it was a rare and fortunate thing. And I feel very lucky that we had it.
That doesn't sound like the business we hear talk about.
It is not. It is not. And now anymore, I mean, when people ask you, I'm sure when people ask me, they're like, I want to act. What can I do? I'm like, When I started,
Mhm.
you went in a room and talked to human beings.
Yeah.
And
I mean, when I started, you went in the room and talked to human beings. And
Yeah.
then, like, in the middle of that starting, it changed.
it changed.
So what is it now? So these
You
are
got a camera in the corner and you're doing self-tapes. And
Yeah.
sometimes you don't get the whole script, or there were supposed to be all these
You never-
rules that changed around
yeah.
it. Like you couldn't get 6 pages the night before to have to memorize and come in. And that kind of, I don't think anyone's obeying that
No,
stuff.
it isn't.
They're still doing it. So you're meant to have like a camera set up and a good mic and a backdrop
And a
that works
backdrop,
and a
yep.
quiet place where you can shoot it. And you're expected to, without benefit of notes, without benefit of any
Yep.
insight from anyone who's created this,
You're
figure
directing
out.
yourself, or your friends are directing you.
Yeah, you're reading with whoever's available.
You are maybe, like, if you're not borrowing space from a friend, they popped up in LA. I don't know if they still exist, but it's psychotic. Rooms that you would pay for.
Oh yeah, of
Oh,
course.
So
my
it's like
God.
you're paying to audition
For the right to not get a
to
gig.
not get a gig. You know, it's a lot.
which
It's
is
a lot.
just making it a more exclusive experience.
Completely.
1000%.
Completely.
Yeah.
So the business is changing every day, and now with
Yeah.
this insane merger that might happen, it's like there's going to be fewer and fewer places to work.
Yeah.
I think we don't know. So when people ask me what they can do
Yeah.
to become an actor, I say, do anything else. And if that's going to discourage you,
Mhm.
then maybe you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
You know, because it's going to be a slog unless you get super, super lucky or just undeniable. So I say work.
Yeah.
You know,
just work.
Read plays,
Mhm.
write.
Mhm.
You know, you don't have to just work when you get a job. You can be working on being a better actor, a better writer on your own all the time. You have an iPhone, you can make a movie. You can, you know?
Mhm.
And now
that
there's
is
no
kind of
barrier
how I
to
feel
you
like
can upload it. You know,
Me
you
and
can-
my friends, or my cohort, I guess, that I think about, a lot of us did come up generating our own material.
Mhm.
When I think about Rachel Sennett, when I think about Quinto, and like, you know,
Mhm.
that we
Issa Rae,
Yeah.
we were, and we were following them, and Donald and people, you know, where
Yeah.
it's like, okay, right,
Yep.
yeah, you make sketches and you post them online, or you tweet, or, you know, you do funny Instagram posts, you make videos, like you do these things. At the same time, though, those are also the people with, like, Rachel and I would ride the train and we would swap sets and give each other notes on our sets, you know, and I would go to Quinta and she'd be like, cool, I went to this, you know, I did sets here, here, and here. Zach went here, here, and here. These rooms are good for this. These rooms are good for that.
Right.
Like, we were doing work in the real world as well as online. And I think exchanging information with each other as well, not wanting to gatekeep from each other. Because to what you're saying also, like, I really was resonating with that. Like, the people that I was friends with and that I connected with and that I still feel connected to, I don't think ever felt like that threat of, like, I have to be
have
the
to keep
only
this
one
from
in the
you. Yeah,
room.
right.
You know, like, I really do believe, and there's more friends that I just will not name drop, but who I love very dearly, but where it's like, we all knew that there was space for each other, especially amongst, like, Black women. I remember like having a conversation and then name drop, but like with Ziwe at a job when she was writing and I was still assisting, and she was like, yeah, well, that's, like, obviously, like, a trick that they want to play on us to cut each other out. There's space for all of us.
Yes.
And if there isn't, then we make space for each other. Duh.
There you go.
And I felt like I was, like, such a little baby writer, and I was like, thank God. You know, like, there's people like that good. And Janelle James was at that same job, and it was the same thing. She was like, yeah, they're not gonna, no way.
Yeah.
You think they're gonna get us? No.
Right.
No, we stay in it. And
Right.
that is, I think, a real skill, that endurance, that,
Absolutely.
you know, fortitude that you have to learn. And that's pretty invaluable, I think, just as much as talent, sometimes even more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you can think of people I can who are, I go, this was the most talented person that
Yeah,
I ever
this
knew.
person's great. Can't bust a grape.
You know, and when the going gets tough, they back out, which is not to say that isn't, you know, valid, and that your feelings can get hurt.
yeah.
Days can be hard and long and confusing, and you can, I mean, it's
And careers are, they're highs and lows.
there's highs and
Absolutely.
lows, and it's a weird thing also when it's like your passion, and especially if it's connected to creativity, but not just that, but when your passion becomes your vocation, when it becomes capital,
Yeah,
you know,
it's dangerous.
it's
you can
trippy.
pimp your job.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
trippy.
Dangerous. Yeah.
And so being able to find ways to navigate that, withstand that, have people that you can talk to. Even, I mean, we had a day where it was just like, help. Do you remember that in rehearsal? You were like, yeah, I mean, that's it. That's the job. Some days feel bad. And I was like, oh, okay. There's going to be something else.
Hey,
okay.
yeah. You'll get over it.
Yeah. And, I guess I did because I'm here.
You did.
Well, having you two, the dynamic duo in this play it's really the magic. But the entire cast is magic. And we are just grateful that you guys made the decision to, dip your toe back into the theater lane because it absolutely matters for all of the reasons that we talked about. Before we close, what's next is the question. What's next for you?
Question.
Io, you are, or Don, you may have
we're
your
both
what
here
next?
till July. So
we're here
next
till
is
July.
So let's just,
what is it now?
the
April?
play runs until
next is May, and
July
then May is
19th.
July 19th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
And then there are things. There are things that are supposed to happen afterwards, and
Do you say that because it's like it could happen, it might not, or I know
say
there's some
that because some could happen, some might not. Some are definitely happening, but I don't know that I want to happen with them. So you know,
You're so funny.
it's like I don't. It's
but that's real.
It's real because the
well,
one
you've
thing.
also earned the right.
Well, look, I think anyone at any time can say what they want to do with their time and what is valuable for them to do with their time. Because it's the one thing, I don't care how much they pay you, you can't buy. You can't get it back.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be in a situation where you look back and go, wow, I just wasted 8 months of my time or 6 months of my time, especially when I'm a little half dead. Already,
you're
right?
old.
Yeah,
you're old man.
Almost out of here.
So
you
gotta
don't want
pick
to
and choose wisely.
Correct. You don't want to mess that up.
I forgot.
Yeah, you forgot.
I forgot you were old. I'm sorry.
Well, no, because he's such a good actor. He was making me think he was
so
young.
Should I flex again?
Yeah. Give him the gun.
Show the guns again.
We're fine. Okay, no.
There you go.
But yeah, that's there's definitely and surprisingly more than there have ever been. For me, things lined up for years that if I wanted to actually push go on, that I know I would be booked for a long, long time.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to be strategic and mindful and thoughtful about how I really want to do this.
And then there's life.
That's
too.
what I'm saying. We are predisposed as actors, to have that engine of like, I gotta eat, I gotta eat. It's not gonna be here. Oh, I'm unemployed again. Well, if I don't take this job, there's never gonna be another job. It's easy to get in that hamster wheel mindset. Even though we've done it for so long, and you feel like I can't logically support that that's true, but it could be.
Yeah.
Are they gonna find out? Are they gonna realize that? Oh no,
like
I was
Don
snowing in this
Cheadle's
whole
a
time.
bum.
You're actually a bum. Yeah, you're never getting another job. So
that old Hollywood producer Cheadle, he's a bum.
He's a bum.
He's
Get
a
him
bum.
out of here.
That guy, you know
Kick
what?
rocks,
On the
Cheadle. He's been snowing us for years. Thousands of them.
he's old, I tell you.
He's old.
He's old. So
How
old.
old is he?
Older than the sun, that Cheadle. That chomping on a cigar wet.
You're so talented, my
Appreciate it.
friend.
Thank you. So yeah, we'll see. One of the 6 jobs that's coming up, or 2, I'll probably do.
Yeah.
But I won't talk about them right now.
Great.
Okay. All
Keep
right.
a secret.
We'll have
Yeah.
you back.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about them when I'm back. Yeah.
What about you, little Missy?
What about me? I am excited to finish this play, and then I also have I'm the opposite, I guess. I have some
writing,
time
aren't you?
free for the first time on the acting side in a really long time because Bear, as Jamie Lee Curtis has announced, Bear will be ending.
There's over.
and
She's like,
that's really cool and scary and exciting. And then I'm writing again, and I'm working on a few things. Some have been announced, some have not. But
I'm not gonna do it. I won't
don't
announce anything.
Don't.
I won't
You're in
ruffalo
secret
you.
keeping mode. Don't
Okay.
ruffalo me.
Can you
I won't
do
ruffalo
it?
you.
But
Breaking news on IMO.
No,
Hey.
won't do it.
But yeah, I'm excited about that and excited to kind of maybe I just turned 30.
Congrats.
And
now you're old.
Now I mean,
right.
they've kicked me out of young Hollywood
You're
so
now old
ferociously.
Hollywood.
I'm in old Hollywood now. But it's an interesting thing. Like time, I think the just past few years have I really. And like friends who are older than me and not even by that much, who would literally, I would be like 28 and they would be like 31. They'd be like, be careful, be careful about your time, be careful about your energy. And I'd be like, I don't believe you.
Yeah. It's endless. I have all the energy in the world. Yeah.
And then it's like, oh my God, there's my body. and it's tired and I do need to rest. And I also do need to like recuperate in order to generate. Like it maybe the reserve was a lot deeper because it was just coming from a place of all this expression that I hadn't felt like I was able to do for so long.
And there's youth. I mean,
there's free. Oh my God,
it's
the
like
folly
because you're
of
just
it.
young.
The
You got
folly
energy.
of it.
I mean, it's like now when I stand up, I have to stretch like my dog Sunny.
Okay,
because you just can't get
What
up
is
and walk
Sunny?
right away.
So what do we do if I also have to stretch?
Yeah.
That
What do we
means
do
you
then?
need to take a break.
Great. Okay.
Yes.
So
Right.
then maybe I do
And maybe
that.
some supplements.
Well, yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I need you to leave me
Spoken
in
like
more
a dad.
stretches.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh,
Yes.
stretching.
He's limber.
Well, yes.
He's limber.
We believe in that's my biggest thing.
He's a
Yin
good
yoga.
stretcher.
Yeah.
Big stretcher.
Do you like morning and night, that type of vibe? Or do you
I need to
like
do
one
more
session?
of it, but I
Yeah.
at least do it
at least once a day?
like a 90-minute session once a week.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So that's good. That's something for me to log and maybe not do for a minute,
You
but
don't
I'll
have
remember it.
right. You don't
I'll
have to
remember
do
it.
it for 90 minutes.
No.
but
But
you
this
can
has
do.
been making me need to be more physical in a way that's
Absolutely.
really great.
You
Yeah.
gotta like the 8 shows a week thing. It's like you really can't take it for granted. And you can,
It's a workout.
yeah.
I mean, that's like a whole other podcast. I'm
Yes.
secretly very woo-woo. And the things that we were talking just about, like life and the things that I've learned in the past few years, I've become really interested in our bodies as like, as just like instruments and the things that we are maybe not as connected to in like Western society that there's, I don't know, that there's other civilizations that have been
That have
existing
been doing
for
it
thousands
better
of
for
years.
than us.
millennia.
You know,
Yeah.
and my father is a cancer survivor, and when he was sick, he got really into like Eastern medicine, and
Save me.
and really genuinely, that's like he's the same. And now it's like we both are like, so like, what's going on with your acupuncturist? You know, and it's really, and he is somebody who like I think that was definitely a jolt for him, and I had one image of him, you know, of my childhood, and now he's the one who's like going on jogs and doing his little Peloton, and he does yoga and all these amazing things. And I really am like, wow, you're a lighter, happier person than maybe who I grew up with.
Yeah.
Partly because I think you're like in communication with your body in a way that you were not, because
Because you just didn't do that.
Yeah,
That's
you didn't
right.
do that.
That wasn't a part
You
of
didn't
our
think that was
a man, a black
Right,
man, an
black-
Doing a
African
downward
man doing a
dog?
downward.
Really?
You're
No,
joking.
get out of
It's
my
like,
face
what's
with
he
that.
doing?
What are you talking about?
Did you lose something, Dad, under that table?
What's under the
Can I
table?
help you find your keys?
Did you drop something?
Because
Let me
you
help
were
you look for
not.
it.
You didn't mean to be on the floor. Black people sometimes don't even like to be on the floor.
Why are you on the
Why would I
floor?
get on the
Oh,
floor?
why would I
Why would I get on the floor?
Why would I do that?
I didn't put these clothes on to get on the floor.
That's exactly
I
right.
actually really like the
But-
idea. I'll never forget moving to LA and meeting people where they're like, "Are you grounding?" And I'm like, "Am I a 13-year-old? What are you talking about?" And they're like, "No, take your shoes off and feel the earth." I'm like, I'm
Get out of
good.
my
Like I'm
face.
on it.
I was like, you might as well ask me to eat a bug.
Nice
Okay, you
callback.
guys have
Hey,
a callback.
hey,
I really.
Well done. Well done.
Mhm.
And
That means the bug has to stay in now.
Yes, you guys. I know that was
well.
my problem. He's like, I got to.
Yeah, you're not cutting the bug.
Don't worry. I'm so buggy right now.
so full
It's
of
like,
bugs.
oh my God. Oh my God. Well, anyway, you two, it's been a delight. I'm proud of you as always. Love you to death. Loving you so completely. This role is you. Yeah, you got a little Catherine in you. I remember our
sure.
first meeting.
I
Yeah,
was
we had
thinking about it. I was thinking about it.
you know, I'm sure Io was like, because we were like, this young girl, she's got a thing. So we just reached out. It's like, girl, what you up to? Nothing. And she came over to the vineyard.
Right.
And I'm sure you were wondering, okay, I'm here. And she sat down and she was so like,
Io.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Barack and I were like, well, yeah, we know that girl.
Yes.
Yeah, we know a lot. That quirky, weird, genius, curiosity, fire, all of that, fearlessness, all of that is what's keeping you going and what is going to fuel you for many, many years to come, so that you are an old person like me and Don on the other side
Well,
of this
I don't know if I
table.
will ever be
that
as
old.
fortunate to get this old.
No, you won't. You won't, especially if you keep bringing it up like that. You ain't gonna make it
You
past
ain't gonna make it.
July.
You go, and it's like,
I like that professionalism. You're keeping me to the end of the run. I like that.
Right,
Of
really.
course,
that.
that affects me. I'm not gonna kick you off before I get mine used out of it.
That was
But you
genuinely
guys-
also like maybe the most exciting 36 hours of my life. 'Cause that was also the day after I threw a first pitch.
oh, you had a
And
lot
for the
going
Red Sox.
on.
My
Well, that's great.
yeah.
First pitch, and did we have lunch? Did we feed you? Did we?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
we
was
had
really
lunch.
good.
You were-
It was really good. It was a really beautiful day.
Yeah. Well,
It was a really
it's
nice
good to
day.
see you blowing up. You have earned every bit of it. I want to make sure that our audience goes to see Proof and on Broadway until
Yes,
July
July
19th.
19th.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is an amazing production. And to all the young people who are going to benefit from this accessibility program, we
Yes.
want to hear from you,
Yeah.
young folks who get to see Proof, want to hear about those conversations that people are having after the show. Because
Yeah.
you can
Right.
see here, you will go in, if you go with the family member, you're all going to be talking for a couple of weeks
Yeah.
about it. So
One of my friends came with, he came with his mom and dad the night that you guys were there. And he was like, they were already talking about the play at intermission, and then they realized that the Obamas were there. And he was like, and so now it's like connected forever.
Forever,
Yeah.
right, yes.
Yeah.
And you never know. We might be there at any
Yes.
moment in time.
Let's go.
We might drop by.
Beautiful.
Because
Love
I
it.
love
Producers.
Broadway.
Love
yeah,
it. Yes.
exactly. So
Thank
you
you.
never
There's
know.
some really
And
good
notes.
shows on
You're
now.
coming
Of
with
course.
They're
notes?
coming with notes.
Okay,
Yeah,
for sure.
obviously.
Perfect.
It's like for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But there are no notes. You guys have done it up.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Everything.
Love you guys.